Hi everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining me on your mat today and dedicating this time to yourself. So today's Pilates session we are going to be going back to some basics. So it never hurts in our Pilates practice to go back to the fundamentals, to check back in with our breathing to make sure we're getting the most out of our classes. This class is also going to be great if you're looking for a way to unwind after a long day, perhaps after work or a busy weekend. While the movement is going to be slow and perhaps considered a little gentle, it's still just a really nice way to let go of the day, to move your body, to bring you into a different headspace and really then feel a nice relaxed evening coming your way. So let's get ourselves started. I'm going to begin just by finding our standing alignment. So planting your feet so that they are directly underneath your hips. We want to find that balance across our feet and our heels, and perhaps even just consider for a moment for me, if you were standing in a queue, how would you normally stand? You're waiting at the supermarket checkout, how would you stand? So naturally, I know that my pelvis wants to tuck under. I tend to walk like this if I'm not really concentrating or if my body is tired. Perhaps you might find that you're the other way, you might find that you sit and dip forwards into the front of your pelvis. Now, really there isn't a bad or a good posture, but we do want to find the most optimal posture that's going to create a really good environment for our bodies to work from. So what I want you to do for me, like I was saying, find that balance across your feet and think about your pelvis being above the arches of your feet. And that's going to give you a really good place to start building up that most optimal placement. Once you're finding that position, we start to think about reaching over through the crown of the head. We think about that lovely natural curve of the spine as we broaden and widen the chest and collarbone. We relax those arms down, but without pulling those shoulders down. We just want to relax on kind of the upper back. Now, first of all, we're going to start with some nice big floating arms. Now, with the breath, often we breathe out on the exhale, on the effort, but sometimes that's not always the case, which I know doesn't always help. But for today's purpose, we're going to inhale on the movement of the first exercise, just help us get that really nice big lift and get that breath flowing. So when you're ready, we take the first big breath in, sending both arms up, and exhale and press those arms down. Now in Pilates, as you may or may not already know, we focus on a lateral breathing pattern, which means we focus on sending that rib cage outwards to the sides of the body. So a really helpful way I find to think about this is breathing into the sides of your t-shirt, and then breathing out, hug the rib cage back in. We breathe into the sides of our t-shirt, and exhale, guide the rib cage down, and back into the body. We're going to do a couple more. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, and let's take one more time. Fantastic. Now from here, we're going to relax those arms, take a breath in, and as you exhale, we're going to bend those knees. Now here, just check for me that those knees haven't knocked together. We want to think about those knees going over the centre of our feet, perhaps reaching out to the sides of your room. We've still got that balance, we can wiggle our toes if we wanted to, and then we inhale, row tall. Now as we bend, imagine that we're sliding down that wall. So rather than sitting forwards or backwards, we're going to try and find the most optimal placement for the pelvis to help the rest of the body work connectively. So again, bending and extending. Breathing out, and use that inhale to really help you lift. We'll do another 3. Thinking about those knees. Good, and one more time. And then we're going to go up into our heel raise, so a strong centre, a little bit of engagement through those glutes, and imagine there's a ball in between your ankles that you're going to squeeze into, so you want to avoid those ankles swinging out. Can you pull everything inwards and upwards through the legs, and then we find that control to come back down. Breathing out, and breathing in. Fantastic, good. And again, spreading out across all 5 toes on both feet. And as we're going up and down, we really focus on going up. Sometimes, once we've got our balance, there's a temptation to go forwards. So keep the pelvis directly above the feet, head and shoulders above the pelvis. And we always feel like the head is wanting to reach back behind us. So perhaps reaching it to the back of the room as we're going up and down. We'll take another 4. Really mobilizing those ankles. Fantastic. Last 2. Well done. Let's rise up this final one, nice and strong. And we love. Brilliant. Now keeping this lovely lift, we're going to take it into our standing on one leg balance. So we're going to take our breath in. As we exhale, we're going to transfer over onto one foot without sitting into that hip. We want strong muscles to the outside here, so we're going to pull ourselves up. We're going to see if we transfer and lift. Now from here, we're going to think about this sitting bone just dropping down. So sometimes again when we lift, we hike up to see if we can find that balanced pelvis so our hip bones are level. And then we're going to transfer that weight over, staying tall, and we raise that leg up. Now absolutely bring your hands to your hips if it feels like it gives you that kind of better sense of feedback and awareness of how your body is working in the space. And then we can start to draw our attention to that knee as it raises up, and make sure it's not crossing the body line. Can you bring it so it's directly in front of that hip? Good. And the head just floats and moves with the body. Good, well done. If you have mirrors at home, this is a great one to do. Just to check in where your knees at, where your body is at, particularly the spine and the pelvis. Good, lovely. It's really feeling lovely and strong. Really tall in the body. Brilliant. And a final one on the other leg. Great stuff. And then we're going to plant that foot down. Now let's just bring ourselves around to one end of our mat. Feet are still planted. Now we're going to start thinking about rolling them down to the spine. And again, it's finding that placement of the weight across the feet. So let's take a breath. We grow tall. We're going to release the head down. And as we release the head down, we're almost going to feel like the head is going to pull backwards. So we're dropping the chin towards our neck rather than to the chest. From here, we start to roll ourselves down. And we're going to really try and round the spine. So the difference is rolling through the back rather than just hinging at the hips. So we're going to find that roll, keeping the head tucked in. But feel like the head's pressing to the ceiling. Then the rib cage is pulled upwards. And we check here that we're balanced above the feet, so we're not sitting back again into those heels. Can you bring yourself forwards? Now, we're going to bend those knees, tilt the tailbone under again. We're going to feel that pull upwards from here. Roll ourselves all the way back up standing. We find the position of the pelvis, the spine, the shoulders and the head. Breathing in. We dive ourselves down, slow and steady. Let's also fold yourself over a barrel. So if you had a barrel here, we're folding ourselves forwards. We're really feeling a lovely supportive lift out that pelvis as we release. Big bend of those knees, push down into your heels, and we come all the way back up standing. Now we're going to do another two. This time I'm going to ask you to roll back up with straight legs. So when I say straight legs, we want to keep the legs straight, but we're not going to lock those knees, we're going to keep them slightly soft. So now we want to really feel these pull up from the ribs. We let the pelvis return. Then the spine, and the shoulders, and then the head. Good, let's do one more time. Up to go over. And it's another great one. You can use a wall here and stand against the wall with your feet about a foot in front of it, a couple of inches perhaps. That feels uncomfortable. And peel your spine away from the wall. And you'll feel your sitting bones slide up the wall. And then as we lift through the ribs, you'll feel your sitting bones slide down the wall. And then we try and lay the spine back into that wall as we come all the way up. Fantastic. Okay. Time to come all the way down to the mat. So let's roll ourselves down at the final time. Slowly allow those hip bones to roll forwards. And then we're going to soften those knees to bring those hands down. And we're going to come and find that forward kneeling position to bring it into our cat stretch. So again, think about the head, make sure it's not dropping down between those shoulders. Equally, we want to avoid looking forwards. We're going to try and bring the head into a long position with a continuation of the spine, exactly as if we were standing. From here, we start to tilt that tailbone under on the exhale. We feel the rib cage pull up as we relax the head. And then we breathe in and we extend head and tailbone away. And we see this lovely pulled up lifted feeling here rather than again dropping downwards. So again, we round. Now you might find that your spine looks completely different to mine, but you're sure that you're feeling lovely and lifted. And that's okay. Everyone's spine is slightly different. It's not kind of like a one-size-fits-all practice. So if you're lengthening back out, you're thinking, oh, I've got definitely more of a curve than Sophie does, that's okay, as long as you don't feel like you're dumping down. It's a very significant difference, and you'll be able to feel it. So let's go again, breathing out, and then breathing into return. Think about the eye line being about a foot in front of our fingertips. Two more. And then last one. Brilliant, we return. And then our pelvis back and we'll just creep those fingertips forwards for a bit of light relief with those hands. Great, now we're going to come back to all fours, take it into our tabletop. So this is the one we're going to keep our pelvis really nice and balanced. So on your next exhale, similar to what we're doing while standing on one leg, we're going to resist the urge to sit into our hip. We're going to try and keep ourselves balanced above our knees, slide one arm, opposite leg out, and then we raise. And just check even that your hips haven't twisted away. Drop that hip down. And then we lower and go back underneath. Now, as you go to reach, we're going to feel like the supporting arm leg almost pull together. And as it works, just deepen those connections a little bit more for us. Pull the hand and knee together as we reach away and we lower and back underneath. Good. We're going to do another 2 on each side. Keep bringing those knees back hip width apart for me as we exhale and lift. You're doing a great job. This is our last one here. Very nice. And then round to the spine to sit yourself back. Good. Alright, so I'm just going to ask you just to bring yourself now onto your front for me. So lowest left down so for me. Those legs are going to be probably about hip width apart. I'd like you to create a little diamond for me. And that's going to come kind of underneath your forehead. We want to feel that the chest is very much connected to the mat, it's not going to lift away. And we'll feel the kneecaps pull upwards. Now from here, what I'm going to ask you to do for me is just press the back of your head to the ceiling. And we always get a little rolling back of those shoulders. Make sure you haven't lifted up too high so you keep the front of the chest connected so your breastbone connected to the mat. And then we relax down. Again, press the head away. And back down. Your eyelids kind of look into the diamond. If you've got a pattern on your mat like I do, make sure I can look funny, so feel free to close those eyes if you want to. And again, we press away. And we come back down. Now what this does, it really helps to strengthen the muscles of the neck and the surrounding muscles. Ready for when we perhaps do this without the arms underneath the head for support. Good. 2 more. Well done, and one more time. Very nice. And from here, we'll sweep those arms around down by your sides. Feel free to turn your head and rest it. Now those kneecaps are still drawing upwards, so we're going to take our breath in. And as we exhale, turn the head to the floor. We're going to hover the head like we did before, resting on the chest. Press those arms up and down your body and rotate those palms in. Now from here, we're going to slide those arms down. We reach the head forwards and then we inhale and we lower. Now you can either lower your forehead or lower your head from side to side. To again, exhale. We're squeezing those fingers up but not taking them up too high, and then we lower. And again, breathing out. And breathing in. As we breathe out, again, we feel that those abdominal muscles are drawing kind of away from the mat. So while we never really think about trying to put in hard through those abdominal muscles, we don't want to feel like we're resting on our abdomen. We want to very gently draw inwards and upwards to help us find that length. Good, let's take one more time. Breathing out, wrap those arms in, and relax. Fantastic. From here, just bring your hand underneath your chest. Press your knees into the floor. Press yourself up and let's sit ourselves all the way back. Great. And then we're going to roll ourselves around. So come and sit on our mats. We are going to roll ourselves down onto our backs to come and find that neutral space again. So in the middle of your mats, with our feet hip width apart, so when we're standing, we soften the head and shoulders. And we find that balance from left to right and front to back through the pelvis. From here, snuggle those shoulders down. And as you exhale, I'm going to ask you to float one leg up. From here, I'm going to take a breath in. So we're checking that thigh bone sits central to that hip socket. And as we breathe out, we're going to tap the toes down. And back up. Breathing out to tap away. Now I'm going to try and keep those hips balanced again. So as the leg taps away, we're trying to avoid that pelvis rocking forwards and backwards. There will be a little bit of movement, but we're going to try and find that stillness. Tapping down low. 3 more. 1 more. Brilliant. And then plant that foot to the mat. We float the other leg up on an exhale. Feel that leg almost suction down into that hip socket. Feel the balance of the pelvis, and we tap that foot away and back up. And just notice that it's your leg moving in the hip joint as opposed to your knee just bending and bringing the foot to the floor. So we tap away, but we keep the knee bent. Great. 3 more again. Fantastic. Keep it going. And 1 more time. Brilliant. And then I'm going to bring that foot to the floor. Now I'll ask you to put your first leg back up. Now from here, we're just going to do a little swap. So there's a moment where both feet are kind of passing each other in the air. So we swap. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And we do place that foot all the way down, and we swap. And we swap. And again, feel this lovely wrapping round. So if you think about your abdominal muscles, you've got those rectus abdominal muscles, which are the ones on the outside, which are those like your 6-pack ones. And we're going to really try and think about those internal ones, so your transverse abdominal muscles drawing in, a little bit like a corset around the middle, through all 4 sides, where it's right in the middle just to pull it in, it's an engaging of the body. Good. Now just do another one on each foot. Fantastic. And then we'll relax those legs. Brilliant. Now we'll sweep those arms overhead on our exhale. Inhale, bring them back in. Like we did before, we're standing, try and keep the ribcage soft to the body. Relax into the floor. Enjoy opening the chest, eyeliners towards the ceiling. Good. Now let's send out one leg at the same time as both arms. We're going to flex that foot, come back in. Keeping that balance again from left to right to the pelvis, come back in. Good. Really away for 1 more on each leg. Brilliant. Final one. Great, and then both hands are going to come behind the head and let the head become really heavy in those hands. Now from here, a little bit like our roll does, we're going to gently nod the head down, just a small amount, and then we're going to curl our hands so that sliding ribcage to the pelvis. Now just check here for me that your legs are still feeling soft, we haven't gripped. Relax. And then inhale, lower down. Breathing out. Breathing in. And the head is almost pressing into the hands as much as the hands are supporting the head. So it kind of meets with equal measures of force. It's a lovely support network where the muscles of the neck engage and that connects all the way down into the chest and the upper back. And we exhale all the way out, trying to empty the lungs now, like we're blowing out a candle. Good, 1 more. And we're going to take it into our oblique twist, so still keeping those hips relaxed. We're going to twist underarm towards the opposite knee, when you think rib to opposite hip. You want to check that this elbow, so the one on top, is out to the side rather than squeezing in. So we really get that rotation from the waist, and then we return. Other side. And come back. Good. Now, are you able to leave your pelvis completely still, pretty much completely still, I should say, on the mat without any want to twist or pull away? Is that movement coming from your centre? Well done. Now we'll do 1 more on each side. Fantastic. Final one. Brilliant. And coming back to centre. Relax those arms down. Now we're going to send our first leg that we used earlier back up into our single knee fold position. Now you have options here. You can either keep the knee bent, or you can extend your leg up. Whichever version you're working with, like we spoke about before, I'd like you to feel that that leg is suctioning down into that hip. Now, we're going to do some leg circles. If you do feel like your hip is really clunky, or it's painful in your hip, so if you feel like your hip's working at the front, that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It probably just needs a little bit of strengthening. But if it's painful, bend the knee back down and release that pressure. We're going to think about that thigh bone sitting into our hip socket, and start just to circle that leg in not only is the working half of the pelvis heavy, the resting half of the pelvis also wants to feel like it's completely supported and relaxed into the floor, helping us to find again the stillness as we allow the limb to move freely from the rest of the body. Good, and then let's reverse it, reaching away through the back of the leg. Now another tip, if you really feel that your hip is clonking, focus a little more on those glutes working. So as you push your leg down, imagine you're pushing down into like a marshmallow. Is that consistency? So you can squash it down and then release it up. So work the back of the leg as much as the front of the leg. Final circle. Lovely, and then release that leg out for a moment and then draw it back in. Other one, so same principles. And the knee bent, fully extended. Both halves of the pelvis can sit really rested into the floor. Leg suctions in, and we start the circles, breathing in. Breathing out with the emphasis on pushing away through the back of the leg. Good, and reversing. Keeping both hip bones facing to the ceiling. Good, 2 more circles. Great work. Lovely, and then lower the leg all the way down. Bring it back in. Alright, we're taking into our final one for our session today. So join our knees, feet together. Take your arms, either go all the way side or just sort of on a wide V. Palms legs up, and we're going to draw our knees and feet together as we roll the ribs. So just check that the knees don't go on their own. For today's purpose, we want those ribs to go to to one side, turn your head the other way. And then exhale, come back to centre, breathing in. As you pause at the top and exhale, rib cage, and it allows us to just draw the opposite shoulder to the way you're going down to the floor, and then back to centre on the exhale again. So you take that little pause in between. Exhale over, breath in, exhale up, breath in, exhale over, breath in, exhale up, breath in. So do one more on each side. Keep drawing the knees together for me. Keep the feet together too. Brilliant, and then bring yourself back to centre. Either hug your knees into your chest or reach arms and legs out long. And then when you're ready, roll yourself either to one side or roll yourself up to sitting. And we'll just come and find a nice central seated position on our mat for a moment. Bring the head over the centre of the pelvis. Either sit with the legs long or legs crossed, I don't mind. I was going to finish with the shoulder circles. So pick those shoulders up and you roll them down. Breathing in and fully out. Good, let's just take one more. Brilliant, fantastic, and you are done for today. So I really hope that you enjoyed revisiting some fundamentals and checking back in with your breath. Equally, if you're enjoying this class later online, I hope you feel really calm, nice and serene, and ready to enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or have a fantastic night's sleep. Thank you very much everyone for joining me, and I'll see you all soon.